All right, here we go at the park, and we have a trail to climb, so let's get with it and see how this new truck does for us. I'm using the basic controller instead of my nice controller, and this is quite a bit different to use because it is really super sensitive. There's not a lot of proportional control. It's kind of like almost all or nothing. And we're climbing pretty steep right now. It's doing a good job. So, let's see how she does. And I'm controlling it with one hand and cell phone in the other. So, come on. Now my old Wraith, which is set up for trails, I have I think the Spectrum 3 or Spectrum 5. I think the Spectrum 5 controller. And it does a pretty good job. Let's see what we can do here. Come on, dude. Get up the hill. Come on. Get up there. This is pretty steep. And he's getting along pretty good. This is some trails out in California. I used to take my Wraith on quite a bit. And I converted the Wraith to a brushless. I took the motor and ESC, all of that out of my low-C buggy, and boy, the battery, and I ran a 2300 LiPo in it, and I could go for a 2.5 mile hike up them some of the big hills we have, and 2.5 miles back down. I think I had over half battery still. It was very conservative with that battery and ESC on the Wraith set up. So, whew, I'm a little bit windy. All right. Here we go. Bump, 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 bump. I'd like to get some buddies out here with a little trail run. Yeah, what do we got here? Yeah. Come on. That's what I thought. You're gonna get stuck. Yeah. Come on. Whew. That was big. Let me turn this a little bit. My steering keeps bouncing around. Whew. And the Wraith is red, and they're really easy to see, and this thing is not. Then I have my super gear reduced crawler that only goes about 2.5 miles an hour. It's not good for trail hikes because its motor would get super hot in order to make a hike fast enough. or go fast enough for a hike. Come on, bud. Come on back up this big hill. So, it's not doing too bad. This is the Coyote SC10iii Coyote with the 1800 battery in it, stock motor. There we go. Ooh, ooh. Uh-oh. Here we go, go that way. It's a little bit hard to do this while you're holding on to it with the camera and trying to drive. Oh yeah. 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 You hung up, aren't you? Come on, go forward. Can you? There you go. Come on. There you go. Go this way. Go this way. Now go that way. That tree is branching. Uh-oh. Hard left. There we go. Get up under it. Oh. Don't break yourself. Yeah. You did it now. You did it now. Oh. I'll take your sponge plug on the top. Wait. That's also another thing my other controller doesn't do is freak out like that. Because I've got the exponential set where you don't get a lot of power until you're way squeezed on the throttle. And this is that cheap, whatever the hell, SLT2, which is their default cheap controller, and it's not really set up for anything more than to get you out of the box and to get going. You would not do well competitively with this, I don't think. I don't know, maybe some people do. I did like my other controller with all the features. Plus you could use lockout and you could drag the... My other one had transmission setup where you can lock out the rear end and have the front drag you around, which was very nice. I didn't have overdrive like this one does. Or I think I don't know if this one does or not, the Pro Series does. Come on. Dude, what are you doing? Embarrassing me, bro. You're supposed to be more cool than that. You're supposed to be able to hang on a 45. Come on. Come on. You're not gonna do it, are you? Nope. Pretty steep where we are right now anyway, so let's see if we can get you to at least go like that. Alright. Oh, yeah, it's really steep where we are, and it's probably not being able to be seen. There's the top of the hill. Horizontally, you can see the drop-off is pretty substantial. So we're on a good little incline right here. Not too bad. He can handle it. If I can get this thing to obey. Come on. Come on. Also, my other crawlers, I have the wheels weighted pretty heavy. And on those, we don't use the body weights so much as wheel weights. I guess both sometimes, but my favorite set is the 2.2 wheels with the axle or the inside of the rim wrapped one full time with lead tire weights, old school lead tire weights, the taper weight. Come on, babe, you can do it. Get in there. All right, let's go. Try this again. Get on this big hill. Come on down this big hill. Come on. Whoa. Down here, tip yourself. There we go. Boom. There we go. Come on. Come on. There we go. Come on, don't fall off. Oh. Bro, what was up with you? Oh, I see what it was. It was that big old thing sticking out right there. It was like a lever. It just launched you. All right. Done with this. Let's go find some more pile of rocks. Come on. There we go. Oh, are you serious? Rob, work with me. Why are you stuck? Poor little stock thing. So it's really different working with a stock modern crawler right out of the box versus our old school super mod. It's just really different. This thing is so light too. I think that's part of its problem. It's a very light vehicle. Now you are really hung up. Look at you. There you go. Get yourself free. Don't fall off that. Come on. Yeah, that was pretty good. Let's try it again. Got all these broken branches around here, and that's causing a lot of problems because the branches are stuck. Up inside the frame. Come on. There you go. That was good. There you go. No. Turn right. There you go. Crawl it hard. There you go. You guys, this is tough to do with one hand. I've never done it like this before. So, probably a little bit. What are you carrying with you? You got a branch stuck in there, you know, leaves. Look at all that stuff here. Gonna overheat your engine. Get your radiator plugged up, bro. All right. So one time, a bunch of buddies and I were off-roading in San Diego County, north of town, up on a place called Horseman's Park. This is back in the 70s. And we'd been back there shooting guns and off-roading, just having a freaking awesome day. Had my little Honda three-wheeler back then, back before they became illegal. And so we got ready to leave Horseman's Park, and we came down the big, long, single width trail And down at the bottom, there was a baseball field. Now we were, I don't know, probably 5 miles away, so we weren't like in town. We were pretty far off the beaten path. And down at the bottom was sheriffs and cops, and they had the marshal. He had right down there. And one of them, well, they stopped me. I think I was the lead truck or the number 2 truck, and we got down the hill. They had all of us pull in up by the baseball field. These guys are ready. They got guns and shit. Everybody had guns out. They were ready to take us on. And hell, we were, I guess, 17 years old. Back then you could shoot guns at 16, 17. They didn't have the stupid rules like they do now. Everybody was sensible. Except I had gone off the trail. Of course, we all did, because we cut across the fields that were up there to get to the other trail, because to get to the main trail, you had to go all the way back around all this stuff, which was like a whole half a day. We were just going to go straight across and head home. So one of the cops had asked, he said, how you boys doing? And doing a little off-roading up there. And we're like, oh, yeah. You staying on the trails? Oh, hell yeah, always stay on the trail. You definitely want to do that. He goes, you do any shootings? Oh, well, maybe a little bit. He said, we heard cops, they're surrounding us. There was like 4 or 5, asking questions, and supposed to be one main guy. And so they're like, yeah, it sounded like a whole war was going on back there, blah, blah, blah. We're like, yeah, well, whatever, we're all back there just having fun, having a good time. And he said, I want to ask you again if you'd run across any of the fields and get off the trail. And I was like, no, didn't really go off the trail too much, just kind of tried to stay on the trail. He said, well, I got a question for you, and I'd like you to get outside. Both of you boys get outside. I want you to take a look at the front of your truck. And I went back there and looked at the front of the truck, and here's all these broken manzanitas and broken old dead cactuses and sagebrush. All kinds of stuff was just jammed in my grill. It looked like a defense a defense device or something. He says, is there any way you can explain how that happened if you were on the trail? Now, you guys have to understand the trails are not very well taken care of. They're pretty primitive, but they are trails about like we're on right here. So this is what the trail looks like, but it's going through all the desert and through the hills and all this stuff. So that's a trail right there. So we're like, wow, I don't know how that happened, bro. I just can't imagine. Maybe it's when we cut across the corner of the trail or something. So anyway, I got a ticket. So the old guy, he didn't think that was too funny. And then they tried to get us on a bunch of other stuff. So he wrote this ticket, and I've never seen a ticket like this, but it was instead of a skinny ticket about 9 inches long, about 5 inches wide, maybe 9-10 inches long. This ticket was a full ledger, and it just went on and on and on. And he filled this thing out. He had to get help from his buddies to fill it out and all this stuff. So anyway, he let us go. They didn't take our guns, nothing like that. Because, remember, California back then was cool. Everything was normal. And he called about 3 days later, and he's like, hey, I need to speak to Joseph. And I was like, yeah, this is Joe. He said, that ticket I gave you, he said, I need it back. He said, I wrote it on the wrong form, and I need to get it back so I can write your ticket on the proper form. I need you to come down to the police station down here and let's get this thing taken care of correctly. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely something I want to do is go down there and mess with you guys again. And he's like, you're going to come down? I said, oh, I'm on the way, bro. 50 years later, man, I'm still on the way. He called, and that was a pretty good climb. He called a few days later. He's like, what happened? I said, well, I kind of did some research and found out that you wrote the ticket incorrectly. And I don't think it's right that I come down and that I'm trying to get a lawyer. Well, as soon as I said that, he's like, well, we got lawyers here, and if you need help, we can get you a lawyer here. And I'm like, oh, I'm not arrested, am I? And he goes, well, we don't know yet. We just need you to come down and redo the ticket. And I was thinking to myself, hell no. hell no. So anyway, about a month or so later, it kind of blew over, and I guess they were just upset that we got off the trail and got tangled up in those sagebrush and old dead manzanita, which I guess is a protected tree. They look just like this stuff, like these pieces of tree right here, but they kind of sprout out like a bush, but they're all dead and they're laying on the ground. They're all falling apart and decomposing, kind of like that's decomposing. Well, if it's a manzanita, at least back then, you're not allowed to touch it or molest it or anything like that. And you definitely can't go off-roading and run them over, which we didn't do. And that's not what we intended to do. So, anyway. We're on this hill here, so I thought I'd try to climb these rocks a little bit, and it's pretty steep. Pretty steep. Let's see what you get. Here you go. Did a good job. There we go. There we go. Ooh. Come on, get up there. Oh, yeah. Let's see what we can do. Come on, you have to do it. You need to go this way. Come on. I knew it. Yeah, this brand new out of the box is really different and really sensitive controller, and the turning ratio is way too fast. So there we go. Wow, that was nice. Yeah, I like my other one. You got to turn the steering wheel a lot to get it to turn. The proportional points are set differently, which is really useful. I know on the camera this is going to look pretty flat, but that's a good drop right there. And we are also on the side of an incline. So this is a good test. We're just bouncing around. She's tippy, I'll tell you that. You can see it wanting to tip over on what looks like flat. See if we can get him or her. I don't know what it is yet. I always called my other one a him. This is pretty steep drop right here that we're looking at. Come on. Get you to turn around. Come on. Well, yeah, you're stuck all right down that hill. Bunch of thorn bushes. Thorn bushes, what you're in. Thorn bushes. Ah, yeah. Get over there. Thorn bushes and poison ivy. Ow. Ah, that's brutal. Woo. All right, y'all. All right, little buddy, let's get it. I want you to go this way. Right, here you go. And come up this trail. Come on. Wow, it's really hard to control the throttle on this. Come on, come up this trail. Come on. You can do it, come on. There you go. Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with the purchase. A little more than I was expecting for what you get. They said it came with a charger. And I was kind of used to the charger that came with the Wraith, which was an actual 12-volt charger. And I asked the guy at the hobby shop, several times over the last few days, man, don't you have any 12-volt cigarette lighter or plug-in charger, clamp on a battery charger? He's like, no, nobody makes this stuff anymore. I don't have it. And I was like, bro, what am I going to do? Charge up at home and then go out to the field, and that's the end of my day after a little bit. So I got me a Harbor Freight 12-volt converter, 12 to 120 converter. We're going down this big hill right now. And I think that'll work out. Got a couple extra batteries. I don't know how long these are going to last with this motor, so I've got a couple batteries. The default battery in this is a 1300, and I'm used to a brushless, big powerful brushless. I don't know how this one is going to do, but I know my brushless can go a whole day. And I remember when I had it set up as a brushless truck, it was only good for maybe half hour, 45 minutes. So this is a little different now. Let's see how she goes. So far it's doing good. And I'm not used to as many branches. Back in the California hills and all that, the valleys and hills and mountains I've gone in, you don't have many branches at all. But you've got a lot of rocks, a lot of hills, a lot of slick, sandy area. Come on, get up there. Yeah, you almost like that. So I'm told that the people in this area are really into the next size down. This is the SC10. I guess they're into the, I don't know, what would that be, the eighth or something like that, the next size down. They do have a pretty badass looking SC6, which I definitely am interested in. That thing's huge. I can imagine it being a lot of fun. Oh, boy. King of the hill, aren't you? You made it without flipping yourself over. Yeah, the other thing that's tough, like I keep explaining, is my grip control is really uncomfortable with this very sensitive throttle. It's really light and there's not much pressure, so it's like all of the control is on your own finger tension and not the actual spring tension to give you much feedback. It's just, I guess that's what I'm looking for, is the word feedback. It's not much feedback. And that'll be resolved. I'm going to buy a better controller. But for now, we got this little dude right here. Let's take you back. Whoa, down a big old hill. You got to the picnic tables. There you go. All right, y'all. So there's the hills that we climbed. If you can see them, pretty good little walk. Pretty good. I think this will be a lot of fun once I get used to it. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a wonderful day. Ciao.